Hi, I'm Chris from Transform Velocity, and our mission is to bring quality, custom furniture to everyone. Today, I'm going to showcase our console table. This table was started as an idea that my wife had. She showed me pictures of something she wanted. She's always into layering our house. As you can see from the pictures, there's all different things, frames, stuff stacked, books. She's very much into layering the house. And this table was something that she really wanted in her design to that was modern, that added to her ability to layer our home. In the other picture, you can see a customer that actually bought this table from us and how they put it against a wall. But the original design was against a couch, and that's how my wife had wanted the table. So it was a very expensive table that she was looking at online that had some similar features, and I told her I could make it, and I could make it out of building lumber. So I decided to take on the project of making this table myself. Today, we're all going to show you how to make this table. If you don't want to take on making this table yourself, feel free to send us an email. In the description, you will see our email address, and we can have one of our local partners make this table for you. And we like to do it local, so we would, based on where you're located, we're going to find someone local or have someone already local to make this table for you. Now I'm going to get into making the table. So, tools needed to make this table. You need a table saw, chop saw, a drill, orbital sander, and belt sander. You also need drill bits in order to make plugs and cut straight holes so that you can hide the screws on the back end of the table. As far as consumables, I use 2.5 inch or 2.25 inch deck screws, glue, any wood glue will do, and then we use building lumber, 2x4, 8-foot building lumber. To make the 60 inch 30 high table that we're going to discuss today, you need 10 pieces of building lumber. So, now I'm going to run through the example table. As you may know, 2x4 building lumber is round, has rounded edges, and often has a lot of surface defects. So the first step of the process is to prepare the building lumber to be furniture grade and ready for our modern table. So what we do is we use our table saw, and we're going to take a total of 1/2 inch off of every piece of building lumber. We're going to start on one side and take 1/4 inch off of every single piece. We want to make all these pieces the same size. So we're going to cut 10 pieces, and we're going to just rip 1/4 inch off of each piece. Then we're going to set the fence to 3 inches. We want all of our pieces to be about 3 inches. We want them all to be the same. So then we're going to rip the remaining 1/4 inch off of the other side of the building lumber, and we'll do all 10 again. So now we'll have 10 pieces. They're all identical, same size, and nice clean edges, straight lines. Then with our chop saw, we're going to cut all the pieces. So specifically to make this table that I'm showing, and you could alternate the 60 and the 54, but for this example, we're going to make 3 60 inches and 4 54-inch pieces. Make sure that when you make the 60 inches, you're not wasteful and you leave at least 30 inches so that you can use that for the feet. Same with the 54. Now, the reason that the other measurement is 54 is because, as you can see from the picture, there's 2 3-inch pieces on each end. So now if the pieces don't come out to be exactly 3 inches, what you're going to be is whatever this measurement is. So let's say it's 2.9 inches. You're going to cut these pieces, instead of 54, you're going to cut them to 60 minus 2.9 times 2, essentially, to get the perfect dimensions. Then for the legs, on our chop saw, we're going to cut 8 pieces to 30 inches. Out of our 8-footers, you can make 3. And we're going to cut 6 to 27. Now, the 27 is the same thing as the 54. It's whatever the width ends up being. So if you don't make the boards to exactly 3 inches, don't worry. Just know that you're going to take whatever the difference is, whatever the delta is, you're going to remove that from the 30 inches to make the smaller boards. And if the measurements are close, at the end, you can always use your belt sander to trim off the excess. I typically like to leave excess at one edge, so I have less sanding work to do. And then oftentimes there may be excess on the feet, and that's easy to clean up with a belt sander. Now we're going to go through the assembly process. Okay, so we have our 4 different size pieces, our 60, our 54, our 30, and our 27. And we're just going to start laying them out on the floor. Now I'm using popsicle sticks for this example, but we just start laying them out on the floor. So I pair the 60 with the 27, 2 of them, and then at this point I apply a layer of glue. I make sure to have out my T-square because this is the really important step in the process. I want to make sure to get a very square edge. So now I'm going to grab my 30-inch piece on top of the 27, going on top of that 60 to create that look, that corner. So there was glue between those layers, and then I put those pieces onto each other. And now is the time after I put the last piece, I apply the deck screws to screw everything together. This is the most important step, as I already mentioned, where you really make sure to create square edges using a T-square and are really conscious about screwing the pieces together at this point. So I apply 3 screws to the feet and 4 or 5 screws to the top. I then apply glue and start doing the next layer. So pretty simple. You keep laying out the pattern, making sure to push things square as I go, knowing that the building lumber has some level of flexibility, so I can put in a first screw and kind of bend it to shape it. If there's any excess material, I try and leave that to one side or on the bottom of the feet. I try to keep the top surface as clean as possible. Every time you layer a level, you add glue in between the levels, and then once you lay that level out, you add screws. And you can see I'm going to put together the last step here. Now this is not as thick a table as we're actually making in the final example, but just so you get a sense for how the table gets put together. And then at the end, what I do is we use the pocket hole drill and the pocket hole maker drill bits that you can see off to the side and create holes for our screws so that we can sink them in, and then out of the scrap building lumber we make plugs and use the same deck screws but screw everything together and make our plugs, and we plug all of the holes that are left. And that's the final step of bringing this together. Then we would sand any imperfections with our belt sander first, any big imperfections, making sure to keep it parallel and straight because we want to have very straight flat edges. And then once we've shaved off any excess, whether it's on the feet or one of the sides, we then bring in our orbital sander and sand this thing to about 220 grit. And then the table is ready for staining and polyurethane. And that is the last step. So depending upon what you want your table to look like, whether you want maybe a little bit lighter, or you want a darker finish, or you want a glossier finish, or maybe a more matte finish, you can apply your stain and polyurethane however you want to do it. Please like, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave questions in the comments. We'd love to see what people make, so feel free to post pictures in the comments. If you'd like to become a partner working with us to build and design tables, please find our email in the description and send us an email. If you'd like to purchase this table from one of our local partners, also contact us through the email in the description. Looking forward to seeing what you guys build and create. Bye for now. Chris with Transform Velocity. Thank you for joining us.